Hello, everybody. We're just waiting for people to join. Bit of housekeeping tonight. If everyone can keep themselves on mute while we just let everybody in.
Oh, somebody's jumping.
If you have any questions, just pop them in the chat for now, but just pop yourself on mute. Okay, so
It's all right, Naomi, you were muted for a moment there.
yes, I know, but I was trying to get it off. Don't worry about me. All right, well, we'll get started. I was trying to figure out some stuff, but that's okay. Hello, and welcome to our yoga class tonight. It's very exciting that we get to do these cool inspired classes. So what that means is there's a bunch of us that do different things and love trying different recipes. And I actually flagged this with Claire, who's on tonight as well. She's our BDM for Canberra, Southern Highlands and the Illawarra. And she'll introduce herself in a moment. So I actually said to Claire, you know what? People talk all the time about yogurt. So I think we need to jump on, do some different yogurts. People like to ask lots of questions. So we're going to share some things with you guys tonight about yogurt. And if you have questions, you can come off mute and ask. And if you've got questions after tonight, you can go to your consultant and ask more questions away, but don't feel scared to ever try yogurt in your Thermomix. It is a bit of a trial and error. I love doing my own yogurt now because it saves me so much money, especially when it comes to like lactose-free and dairy-free. And I can control the ingredients, what I put in my yogurt, which is very exciting. So I'm actually not going to do a yogurt tonight. I'm actually going to do a grain-free granola. My name is Naomi and I am a consultant located in the Illawarra and have been a consultant second time around, probably eight and a half years altogether, but I started in 2011. And back then, my 15-year-old was 16 months old and I came on as earn. So I earned my Thermomix back then and I've come back and earned my TM7, which is really excining. Or I should say TM6 first and then TM7. So I'm going to start with a granola. So this is a grain-free one. This is great for anyone who can't, is gluten-free or can't have, needs to control blood sugars and whatnot. You can alter the recipe too, which is really great. And one thing about this is I really struggle with breakfast. I'm not a cereal. I'm not a toast. I need a good hit of protein, which is yogurt for me. And I was like, what else can I have? I can't have fruit forever. So this is when I found this recipe and went, yeah, this is for me. So it's a recipe by Noni Jenkins. If you don't know who Noni Jenkins is, she does ThermoFit with Noni. She's fantastic. She's a Thermix consultant and she's also created her own platform alongside Thermomix. So this is part of her collection on Cookie Dough. So we'll get started. I know you can't really see the recipe from here, but I want to talk about stuff more than show you the recipe. So you'll get a link with all these recipes after today. So we're going to preheat the oven to 150. So we're going to do some dried apricots and medjool dates. If you don't have medjool dates, you can just use pitted dates. So use what's in your pantry. Don't run out and buy stuff. I do want to talk about apricots though, because I teach a lot of people about this. So this is what dried apricots should look like. They're black. They're not actually orange. They're not pumped with the preservative 2020. do your homework. This is the way to buy it, and these are honest to goodness. If you don't have it on, if you can't access honest to goodness, you can access something like the Source Bulk Foods. Have a look at the apricots; that actually taste amazing. Or get some fresh apricots and dry them, or dehydrate them yourself. So they're definitely worth it in the long run. Someone who, like myself, who has asthma and eczema, the apricots in foods was making it worse. So just be mindful of that. So this is about 7. So I'm literally just going to chop these in half. And it also says some dates. So 5 dates. So the medjool dates are you can get them quite big. So I'm just going to substitute, just chuck in a couple of more dates. And shop around with your medjool dates too, because you can pick up some bargains as well. If you cook a lot with medjool dates, especially if you've got diabetes or you can't have too much sugar, you can actually make a date paste to replace sugar in some of the recipes. I found that out with my mum recently. So I've got that. It says next. Now, this is just going to be the turbo. So your turbo is like your old like pulp. All right. So that was just 2 pulses, and you can see it's chopped up nicely in there. Next, I'm going to do unsalted nuts. So nuts are your best friend. I love nuts, and I love it even more than my mum actually. I actually can't see the comments, Claire, just FYI. I can see them pop up, then they disappear.
That's fine. They're just me. And I, so Naomi,
Yeah.
if we turn your camera, will we be able to see as much?
Is that better?
Yeah, definitely.
Better?
Jody?
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah. Awesome. No worries. So I love my mum. She activates all of our nuts for us. So she puts them overnight in the oven on a really, really low heat and activates them. And I can tell you that they taste amazing. So then you just store them in the fridge afterwards. So I have containers of activated nuts. So I've got a nice mixture in there. So 160 worth of nuts. So shredded coconut. I tend to buy the coconut flakes because I do like the organic brand. I can blitz this down into fine coconut, desiccated coconut in my Thermomix at any time. And I can use, we can only see Naomi. That's okay. That's because I'm speaking. Is that?
No, I do have to spotlight too. Yeah, or yeah, you can do presenter view. Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Beck.
That's all right. So yeah, you can mill this down into desiccated coconuts, but I like the flakes. I'm very little, Michelle Jackson said. It's maybe your view, Michelle. Is it just your view?
Michelle, if you can see all the other participants in the room, it's because your Zoom is set to gallery view. You just need to change it to speaker view, and then you'll be able to see Naomi or whoever is actually talking.
Yep, amazing. No worries. It's always fun with these technical things. So don't worry there. So I've just put 80 grams of those coconut flakes in. It said shredded coconut, but I'm putting flakes. So I'm using up what's in my cupboard. And now we're going to pulse that for another 2. Now, it's up to you. If you like things more chunky, you don't have to pulse it as much. That's quite fine. So I've only done it 1 time before, but that, as you can see, that's quite fine in there. So if you want it more chunky, just do it once. You don't have to do it twice. And this is where we put in the other stuff. So I love these jars. These are from the mix shop. They clip into my wall, and I just take them down to the Source Food store and refill them. If I forget them, I use the paper bags. Because one thing I learned today, the amount of glass jars that people buy with their herbs and throw away is adding so much extra landfill to our households. So that's 2 teaspoons, pumpkin seeds, I like Australian pumpkin seeds. Majority of pumpkin seeds come from China. So I went to the source and got some nice Australian pumpkin seeds.
Um,
All right, sunflower seeds. Now, with sunflower seeds, they're a great alternative when you're making a pesto as well. So if you've got someone who you're taking it to a party or something, they're great to replace grams. All right, and vanilla. So this is my favorite vanilla. I tell everybody about this vanilla. This is at Costco for $30 and it used to last me a year, but now it lasts me about 7 months. So if you know anyone who's got a Costco membership, tell them to. I'm a kind of a squeezy in a person. I don't measure. Okay, coconut oil. It should be melted because today's really humid. I don't know where you guys are from, but it's melted. And 30 grams. And I went slightly over. And that's okay because I'm eating it. All right, so now we're just going to combine. So if there's things in there or nuts that you don't like, you can just alter the recipes to suit you guys. A great way with kids, I've started getting my kids to eat a variety of different nuts, like raw nuts, just to see what they like. At Christmas time, we started giving our kids pistachio shells as well, pistachios. My 8-year-old actually tried to eat it with the shell on, which I thought it was hilarious.
Fun fact, pistachios are very high in melatonin or like similar sort of properties. They make you sleepy.
Ooh, I'd have to give him a pistachio milkshake at night time. No, just joking. That's it. So all that now goes on my tray and goes into the oven. So I've got one of our lovely, I don't know if you can see it at this angle, but that's okay. I'll put it up to the camera. So I've got the two of the small ones. So I'll probably bake it in my two, not if I had a large one, but I'll probably put it in my two small ones, give it enough room to give it a real crunch. And it only takes roughly about 15 minutes on 150. And then you just spread it out. And if you don't, this is one of the trays from the mix shop with a liner in it. So it saves me baking paper pretty much. And yeah, then I'll stick it in the oven for 150 for about 15 minutes and you're done. So then it comes out looking amazing and stir it in a jar and ready to go for breakfast. That easy. So yes, I will show you how delicious this looks.
Pretty delicious and even better with coconut yogurt.
Oh, yes. And I've got some hemp seeds. You can do the hemp seeds on top as well. And they're a great protein source. And they're also really great for vegans and vegetarians because they need that extra shot of protein. Yeah, so then ready to go. I'll put a little bit of fruit and I'm ready to eat the yogurt. So I'm off to eat this now. I'll hand you over to Jodie. She's going to do our next dish for us, yogurt with red berry coulis.
Thanks, Naomi. That was awesome. And can I just say, I need a refill. Mine's empty. This is my husband's job, though. He makes this. So for all the people husbands, partners who said we don't need a Thermomix, he does this all the time now. And what I do is we pop some of this on top of these little jars. And so this is what I'm going to make. Here's one that I made earlier. And it's actually the yogurt with red berry coulis. This is replaced for me. So I really like a really sour Greek yogurt. My husband doesn't. So we were spending a fortune on those fruited yogurts that you buy, the 700-gram ones. Won't say the brand names, but they cost about $11.50 a kilo. If you look at the tags, you can get them for about $6.50, $7 for the tub. But if you have to, it's like 650 or 700-gram tub. So it works out to be about $11 or a bit more than $11 a kilo for those yogurts. I've actually got it down to be making a kilo for about $4.50. So huge saving, and he actually likes it. So for somebody who really likes sweet yogurts, he likes it. So I do alter the recipe just a little bit, only because I want to remove some of the sugars from it. So I have done a bit of prep. I've got the yogurt with the red berry coolie here. So I'm just going to hit start. And the first thing I want you to do in the recipe is the coolie. So I've got my berries here. Now it says to use fresh red berries cut up into pieces. I actually usually just do the frozen one straight from the freezer. It works just as well, no problem. And we always, if we've got extra berries, it happens occasionally, if we see berries on special, buy them, Australian berries, and stick them in the freezer so that you don't have to buy the berries from Chile. No offense, Chile. Not sure about your berries though. So it's asking for 200 grams. So it's going to weigh it in for you. Hopefully that's 200 grams. I'll have to get some more. Oh, look at that. Close enough. 205. And we love when it gets it right, because then you get the... and this is actually asks for caster sugar. I don't add caster sugar. I add a little bit of honey. Just to, again, get rid of some of the refined sugars. And I know that we can buy the raw sugar. It's still refined sugar. You can do coconut sugar. You can do whatever sugar you like. But I just pop that in there and then put the lid on. Think that I've done that. Next. Now this is going to actually cook for 8 minutes. I actually don't think it needs 8 minutes, so I'm going to pull it down a little bit. But if whoever's after me wants to take over for 5 minutes while I do this, that would be great.
I do just have one question. So I had two recipes for you, Jodie, the natural yogurt, and then I've also shared the berries with the yogurt.
Yeah. So the reason there's two different ones is because for me, I make the natural one for myself and I do it in these jars. And it makes 2 of these jars plus a starter for the next one.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
And I do them in here and do them in the Varoma, but hubby likes the fruit one. It's essentially the same yogurt recipe, FYI, but this one has the coolie at the beginning. So it's just, for me, it's just easy because the cook tells you what to do. So it's just easier to just go done. And now I can walk away. I don't have to think about it. While this is cooking for a couple of minutes, I'm off doing something else, waiting for this to do its thing.
Nice.
So do we have a few minutes to kill?
Yeah, I've got probably 4.
All right.
4 minutes.
Claire, how long do you need to show the coconut yogurt?
Well, let's see how we go. I think mine will be probably quicker than yours.
That's fine.
So let's do this. So I'm doing, my Thermomix did just turn off. I'm doing the coconut yogurt recipe. I will share that once I've got started. So this one is a little different to your cultured dairy yogurts because you don't sort of use the culture from another yogurt or a starter. You use probiotic powders. The recipe I use works every single time. I find that this brand you do need coconut milk and coconut cream. I find this brand is just by far the best, gives you the best result. It is a little bit more expensive, but you get a better product. It's extra creamy and it's also very natural. It doesn't have the additives that a lot of cans have. The recipe calls for 400 grams, so I've just gone to 270 and done 1/3 less. And it's also quite a large batch, having almost a liter of coconut yogurt, and not everyone in my family eats it, so I didn't want to quite make so much. So I did the first part. When you've got a TM7, if you want to find your recipe because it's shut down, you just drag down to the top, and that brings you back to your recipe to the spot that you were at. Now, if I've got my lid on, it will tell me what temperature it's at. So it says it's at 50 degrees. And it said to cool it down to about 45. Close enough right now. It says to put a little bit into a bowl, so I'm just going to pour a little bit, and that's so I can mix my cultures in. Just going to grab that from the fridge. So I've just got the Inner Health Plus powder. You can get ones that have the capsules that say dairy free. I would recommend that if you're doing this because you're dairy free. This is just what I happen to have in my fridge. And so if I think about it, doesn't really matter too much, but what 2 capsules worth is not very much. So probably just going to do about that, like half a teaspoon. And I mix that into the yogurt. So again, you don't want it to be more than 45 degrees. I think 50 will be probably just pushing it, but you can
So
buy.
Claire, just
Yeah.
so we understand, why do we want the milk to be below 45? What happens if it's too hot?
So if it's too hot, our probiotics will die and they will not be able to give us the beautiful fermented coconut yogurt. So yeah, we definitely don't want to kill our probiotics. We want to keep them alive. And these are refrigerated ones. Okay, so once I've mixed my bit of powder or 2 capsules into my cooled yogurt, I then done that one. I'm going to add that back in here with the rest of my yogurt. I'm going to mix that. So just...
And Claire, where do we purchase that from?
Yeah, so you can get this one at health food stores. You can get it actually at chemists as well. Anywhere where they've got refrigeration, you can purchase those. So they're very easy to have. Inner Health Plus is a pretty common brand that you can get. Okay. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that Inner Health Plus now also does a non-refrigerated one that's very stable.
Oh, great. Good to know. Yeah, it's definitely easier if you don't have to keep it in the fridge. Because Jodie's doing the fermentation method today, I thought I would go with the thermoserver method. This is how I always used to make yogurt before I got my TM6 and was able to use fermentation. And I'm really excited because the new thermoserver is even more insulated, whereas the old one had the plastic lid and you had to kind of cozy it all up and wrap it in towels to make sure it stayed ambient. I'm going to use this one. So what I want to do first, which I haven't done, so I will pass you over to Beck. I'm going to fill this with some boiling water just to heat it up, put the lid on and let it sit for a little bit. Take that out, make sure it's not too hot. And then I'm going to pour the yogurt in. And I'm happy to come back once I've sort of got that prepped.
Amazing.
I think
Thank
that's
you.
I was going to say, I think that's actually almost perfect time for me to do my next step.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Jump back to you.
So the next step for me is so that's all hot now and the berries have been cooked. So what it's going to do now is blitz it up. And it's 3 seconds. So we're just going to blitz all of this up. And then once this is blitzed up, I need to put it into the bottom of my containers that I'm going to be putting into be fermented overnight. You can see that's a little steamy all there. And then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit into each of these little jars. Can you see the jar? Yeah. Into the bottom. Sometimes I will use a spoon. Essentially, you just divide it into there. Like that. Just put a little tiny bit in. And then I'll wash my jug. And then I'll start with the yogurt. So if you want to take over, I'll finish this and then wash my jug.
Awesome. Thanks, Jodie. I love making the coolie. I love making the coolie. I keep saying the name wrong sometimes, but my 8-year-old is loving the different flavors he can make. So we pick different things all the time. Every time he has to have mango, and I'm like, no, there's so many other flavors.
Yeah.
So no, it's great. Awesome. So Claire, do you want me to pass over to Beck, or would you like to go back to you?
Yeah, go to Beck. I'm not
okay.
happy.
No, that's all right. Yeah, so we'll hand you over to Beck. and she's going to show us some amazing things now.
Okay, thanks guys. All right, so yeah, Beck McAllister, everybody. I've been a consultant for, 10 or more years now. Kind of like Naomi, I joined up to earn my first Thermomix, which was the TM5 way back. Actually, no, I lie. I bought a 31 and then I joined up to earn the TM5 when it came out a few months later because I was so jealous. Anyway, so tonight I thought I would do a little bit of a twist on the yogurt theme. And I'm actually going to show you how to make a creme fraiche, because that's one of the things that occasionally I'll pull up a recipe and it asks for creme fraiche, go to the supermarket, can't find it, depending on where you live. So traditionally a creme fraiche is made with buttermilk, cultured buttermilk, not the milk left over when you make your butter at home, because that's actually slightly different. It doesn't have any living cultures in it. However, you can also do it with yogurt. So yogurt is something I usually have, and that's why I thought it was a really nice way to sort of, give you another option for using your homemade yogurt. So like this couldn't be simpler, honestly. Claire's just dropped a link in the chat to a created recipe that I've uploaded into Cookie-Doo. So you're welcome to grab that, download it into your own Cookie-Doo, so you'll have all the instructions. But basically, to make a creme fraiche using yogurt, all you need is cream, and it needs to be a high fat content. So sort of, I think this one's 38%. This is just a pure cream. You don't want thickened cream. But if you find a double cream that is just cream and doesn't have any thickeners or additives, that would be fine too. Literally, I'm going to use half my bottle. I'm only going to do 300 grams. And I'm not even going to weigh it. I'm just pouring in my cream. To that, I'm going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of my yogurt in with the cream. And that's your starter. So when we were talking before about Claire's coconut yogurt, she's used the probiotic starter. Here I'm using some yogurt as the starter for this one. Now, Jodie's going to talk a little bit about heating the milk and adding the starter and all of that stuff in a minute. And when I first started doing this, I was really confused, because typically to make yogurt, you have to heat the milk to kill the bacteria before you add your starter so that the good bacteria can grow. With creme fraiche, you don't have to do that. And I was really puzzled as to why that is. And basically it's because of the fat content. So the cream is a lot more stable. It's got a higher fat content, which means that you don't actually need to heat it. It's going to be quite happy. It's going to thicken. And it's the yogurt that we've added in here, the acid in that neutralizes any of the yucky bacteria that might still be in the cream, and it's all good. So there's 2 ways to do this. One would be Claire's method: pop it in a nice warm spot until it cultures and thickens. But what I have been doing is using the Varoma method. So basically what you need is your Varoma. I've only got 1 jar today, but if you're wanting to do multiples, you can. Pop it in your Varoma. Obviously choose a jar that is going to fit. Don't make it too tall, otherwise the lid won't go on. You could also mix this in your Thermomix if you're doing a big batch, but I find it just as easy to give it a shake. Don't put the lid on really tight. You just want to kind of loosen it because you want some air to be able to get in there while it's doing its thing. Lid goes on top of your Thermomix, and you're going to use your fermentation mode, and this is for the 7 or the 6. 12 hours seems to be the sweet spot for me to get a nice thick creme fraiche, and you want to use 60 degrees. So I find 70 is just a little bit too hot. At 60 degrees, it's a lovely ambient temperature and you're going to get a good result. So once it's done its 12 hours, this is a jar I prepared earlier, and it's a bit tricky to see on Zoom, but I just want to tip this down. You will notice the top is a little bit sort of grainy. If I sort of pull that back, it's quite thick. It's almost like when you crack the top off a pot of cream, there's always the real creamy bit at the top that's thicker. It's going to be the same once it's sat and done its thing. You're going to give it a really good stir just to incorporate all of that. And in fact, I should have given this a stir earlier and popped it back in the fridge because this one is still a little bit runny. I will confess, we had a blackout at my house last night, so my 60 degrees became room temperature for most of the night until I got up this morning, so I had to kind of guess. So that one is a little bit runny, but nonetheless, it will thicken up after it's had its time to do its thing. The other thing that I wanted to show you tonight is an option to use your creme fraiche. So I'm going to use the cutter. Does anyone, show of hands in the crowd, who has either a TM6 or a TM7 cutter? Leave us a comment about why you love it. This is why I love it. So I'm doing spirals, right? I'm going to do a flatbread. I've already pre-made the dough. Okay, it's basically a pizza dough, let's be honest. But the recipe is called flatbreads with something. Claire will share the link. I've already spiralised a few of the bits. So I've got sweet potato, beetroot. I thought I'd just quickly show you how it works by doing a little eggplant and some zucchini. So basically, if you're following the recipe, it will automatically open up the spiraliser mode. Show of hands.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it the recipe that says crispy flatbread with halloumi and ribbons or spiralized vegetable tarte flambe?
Or that's probably not the same version that I'm using. Hang on a second and I'll tell you the name of mine.
Okay, thanks.
It'll be in my recently cooked because I followed it for most of the steps.
I think it was the first one, Claire.
It's called crispy flatbread with, yes, halloumi and ribbon veggies.
Okay, cool.
Yes, because
Thank you.
Embedded in my brain for me to make.
Yeah, so it uses the spiralizer function, okay? Now, always remember when you're using your spiralizer or your cutter, it defaults to the thin setting. So in between steps, when you're starting and stopping, you need to remember to go back to the thick setting, otherwise you'll end up with thin ribbons instead of thick ones. All right, so for anyone who doesn't know what this thing looks like, let me just quickly pull it apart and I'll quickly give you a look. It can be tricky. There we go. So you've got a catching kind of dish that sits inside your Thermomix, and there's a little drive shaft that goes on top of the blades. This is the spiralizer. It's a bit tricky to see, but there's like a cutting blade in here, and there's two of those. So one will do ribbons and one will do like noodles. I'm using the one for ribbons today. So that sits inside your Thermomix, and then the lid goes on. And then you've got a little pusher. So this pusher for the spiralizer has got some little spiky bits on the end. That is for stabbing. Oh, I thought I was clever then. Stabbing your vegetable so it doesn't twist as you're running it through. So let me give you a look at what that looks like. You do have to make sure the lid's on properly, otherwise the machine will say, not working. There we go. So that's on now. Stab it again. You literally just push it in.
Knowing Beck, she would have pre-measured that.
Yeah.
I did make sure that it fit down the hole, yes. Now, look at this. What you get left with is a little bit.
It looks so cool.
Little mushroom. So I've actually just been freezing all my little odds and ends of that sort of stuff in a bag, and then you can either roast them or put them in stock or whatever you want to do. So that was my ribbon of eggplant. Oh, did anyone see that? Kind of.
That is amazing. I love it.
It's really fun for kids too.
Yes.
Like, I think it's a nice, fun way to make veggies interesting.
Correct. And that's exactly what I'm doing with my kids at the moment. If I put something in front of them, they won't eat it. But if it's spiralised, it's next, it's a different story.
All right, so that's the zucchini going in there now. All right, all done. So then literally this recipe, there goes my spirals. Woo. The recipe basically says take your flatbread, your dough, and then you're going to add, I'm going to tip this down while I assemble. Got some odds and ends here. Hang on a sec. So then you've got your pre-made creme fraiche. Spread it on. The first time I did this, I think I didn't quite put enough on. So you want to make sure you load it up pretty well. This is the rose gold pizza tray from the mix shop, just FYI. So creme fraiche base, a bit like a pizza really, let's be honest. The recipe also sautés some capsicum strips. So you're just going to pop those on there, and there's actually some garlic in there as well. Funny thing is, the recipe spiralizes all the vegetables, but it doesn't slice the capsicums. You have to do that bit by hand in the recipe.
Does it tell you how to do it, Beck?
What, to slice them?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this is the new pizza tray. So the one you've got, they don't sell that one anymore.
Ah, okay. I haven't
But
updated.
Crispy.
It's a bit bigger.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. So my what are these things called? Sweet potatoes have decided that they're not going to spiralize very well. They're just snapping because they're quite crispy. So we will do our best. This worked perfectly when I did it the other day. Can everyone see that? You kind of, what you want to do is like create lots of surface area. By sitting the veggies up, it kind of means that they're going to cook and get a little bit crispy. There we go. The beetroot's doing its thing. Then you've got the same with your zucchinis. Make it all look pretty.
I have to say, Beck, every time you present a dish at these classes, I'm so inspired to go and make it, like every time. Like, where do you find these recipes?
I just like to try new things, Claire, and there's so much inspiration on Cookie Do. And also, I'm always inspired by my garden, you know, like whatever's in season, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So this was one of those examples. All right, so I'm just going to hold this up to the camera because you'll be able to see sort of how high those veggies sit up, right? I'm now just going to give that a little drizzle with some, I've actually got chili oil, little drizzle of chili oil. I've got some cheese. The recipe says to use either halloumi or feta. This is actually called, let me tell you, it's a Jersey cheese from a company called Gold Street. It's a bit of a specialty cheese. It's made in Sydney. We sell it at the place where I work, but you probably find it at like Harris Farm or an IGA or somewhere like that. And it's kind of like a cross between a halloumi and a mozzarella. So you can cook it, like you can fry it like halloumi, or you can just crumble it like I've done today. And it's really, really delicious. It's made with just Jersey milk. So no nasties, really good for you.
That sounds amazing. I agree, Claire. Does sound like cheese.
All right, so that's that. And then when it comes out of the oven, I'm just going to give it a little sprinkle with some like herb salt as well. And just as a variation, before we started the class, I also, because it makes two bases, two flatbreads, so I did another variation, the same theme. So that one is the creme fraiche base, that smoked trout, preserved lemon, and dill, and a little bit of the cheese.
I'm coming over tomorrow for lunch.
All right, I'll see you then. And if anyone wants to know how to preserve lemons, shoot me a message and I'll let you know how to do it. It's not hard.
Ooh.
So go to Thermomade with Beck. Is that right, Beck?
Yes.
I think it's just Thermomade.
Thermomade.
Gorgeous. All right, where are we up to?
I'll go back to me.
Yeah, go back to Jodie.
So I have now cleaned my bowl and dried it off, and then just following the rest. So now what it wants to do is it actually asks you to measure out 55 grams of a yogurt as a starter, and to pop it aside. I know mine in this little tub, what I've got in here, so I don't need to bother with that. And that's just weighing that in there. I don't need to do this because I know, but it actually just, it gives you an idea to measure. Now, if you can buy one of these as a starter. I do that sometimes as well, hence I have this. I get lazy sometimes when I'm making this and I just put the whole thing in as a start because otherwise it's all right, eat half of it and put half of it in as a starter. But I've never had this recipe fail. So I know
I
other
just
people
that
have.
I use that as a starter too, because sometimes I don't even get to the yogurt to get a starter out before Xander's eaten it. So I like the tips about the starters, everyone. I just had to jump in
Yeah.
there.
And I think these are like $2 or something as well. So they're reasonable. I do get the natural one and make sure that it's not the sweetened one. And whichever brand you like, but just make sure that it has got live cultures in it and it's not a dead yogurt,
I personally
which is just a sugary yogurt.
I find the Jalna works hands down the best out of all the yogurts.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, so that's it. I've done that. I've got that all measured out. Next, set that in a bowl beside. And now it tells you to add in milk. It's a liter of milk, whichever milk you want. Actually, I lied. I did have it fail once, and it was because I think I did it with some milk that my auntie had, and it was a low-fat yogurt, a low-fat milk, and I don't think it worked very well. So, but that was all. But you pour the milk in, and it will weigh it for you. So pour the milk in, and I've gone a bit under now because I've gone backwards and forwards a couple of times. It'll be fine. And what it asks you to do is, like the others were talking about with yogurt, it asks you to heat the yogurt to 80 degrees and then to let it cool to 45 to 50 degrees. Some people say that if you use the UHT milk that's already been put through that pasteurization extra up and down heaty thing, you don't need to do this step. I've used the UHT milk and I didn't like it. It didn't work. But I don't like using UHT anything. But I tried it once and wasn't for me. So yeah, I avoid UHT anything. So, but if you do it, if you like to have those milks in your cupboard and that's what you do, you do you. So yeah, you put it on, heat it up. I've actually done that already. And then you're allowed to cool. Now, it usually takes about 45 minutes for it to cool back down, fitting in the thing. And I always put my lid on with what's my cap now? You know that little trick that you put your cap under here? Has everyone seen that little trick? Where you put your cap here?
We might need to show it. I don't reckon.
All right. Where's my cap gone? I lost it.
I can
I
show
do that all
mine.
the time.
I've got my cap. Yeah,
Mine's like in the sink somewhere.
Mine's probably over there in the sink too. I don't know where I put it down.
I'll get Claire to show while you look for your
all
cap.
right on. There you go.
Sorry. Is it in there? No.
So do you do this when you're drying it, Jodie? Or when
I'm cooling the milk down.
Oh, see, learned something new today as well. And Claire just dropped hers in.
Yes, don't drop it in the milk. I've done that too. I found
Don't take the lid off first.
No, it will drop into your milk. Yes, good tip. Yeah, so that's what I do when I'm cooling my milk down is I just leave it like that. That's an airing to let it cool down. And next tip is I kept getting a note. So with the TM6, I used to do it all the time and it stays on. The TM6 kind of stays on and keeps the temperature checked for you. TM7 doesn't seem to do that. And I haven't figured out how to make it do that yet. And it's one of my meh. But in saying that, what I do to get around it, because otherwise the TM7 just turns off. If you're just sitting it like this and waiting on step 11, it shuts itself down. To prevent it from shutting itself down, I put a timer on. So you pull down the top and I put a timer on for 45 minutes. Does two things. It keeps the Thermomix awake for you. And then I go away and the timer goes off and I come back and check it. And normally then it's about the right temperature. To check that it's the right temperature, you have to go back to manual mode and put the lid on, and then it will tell you what the temperature is.
That's a great tip with the timer.
Yeah.
See, I'm coming along to these classes and learning more as well.
I had to learn that because I had my TM6 just sitting there as my yogurt machine for quite a few months. But my daughter has borrowed it. I don't think I'm ever getting it back unless I can talk them into getting a TM7. But at the moment, it's not coming back. So yeah, so you do this, cool it down. Now this has come back to the main screen. I don't know if everybody knows the tip that you can just hit the green dot again and it's going to take me back to where I was up to. It said that I was on 11, so that's a great tip. You can go straight back to where you were. Can't do that on the 6 as easy, so I love that one. Next. So I've cooled it all down, and now what I need to do is add a little bit of the cooled mixture into a bowl. In there. So I just need to get a little bit of the cooled mixture. And I'm essentially now doing exactly what Claire just did before for her yogurt. I'm putting in my starter. Now, Claire used the capsules, or I'm just using the yogurt. So I pop that in there.
Could you put extra? Is there
Extra
any
what?
like extra little things in the starter? Like, could you open some capsules or put them in the starter with the yogurt?
There's no need, but you could.
Yeah.
The yogurt, I don't think there's a need for it. If you didn't have this and you actually had some probiotics, you could, I suppose, use them.
Would it make it extra probiotic? I don't even think it would.
If you wanted to boost someone's, if they're taking
Yeah.
antibiotics or something. Yeah.
Maybe.
You might just
Maybe.
end up with a different mix of strains.
Yeah, I
so
think,
your pot yogurt might have one strain of bacteria and your capsule might be different. So you're going to get extra probiotics.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. But it also might make the texture of the yogurt different.
Yeah, that's true.
Depending on the protein structure of the probiotic that you're putting in there.
Yeah. And another question someone asked me this week was, can you add protein yogurt into powder, into the yogurt? I've never added protein powder into my yogurt.
I haven't either.
Look, I'd say you could, but I probably wouldn't do it until it's set. And
I do it when it's set.
Yeah.
That's my snack. So one of my snacks is one of these jars, one of like a plain one that I make without the rest of the strawberries in it. I do like two big, I don't know, probably half a cup of yogurt and a scoop of protein powder, and you get a fork and in a little bowl, and you just kind of do this, and it turns in. If you've got chocolate protein powder, it turns into a pudding.
Ooh.
It's delicious. And you just keep whisking and whisking and whisking and whisking with your protein powder and your yogurt, and it turns into that same gloopy kind of.
Or, Jody, you could put it in your Thermomix and turn it on.
I mean, you could. It's, if you like. I don't think it's worth. I'm going to eat it out of the bowl, and I'm making it just enough for me. So, not worth the dirty bowl. But you could, if you wanted to make a bigger batch. Well, I wonder if you could do that. Let's try that one day.
Just quickly, sorry, Jody. On Cookie Do, there is another recipe for high protein yogurt as well. And the reason they call that high protein is because they add milk powder to the mix. So that makes it.
I'm adding milk powder.
So
I also add milk powder.
Perfect. There we go.
Yeah.
You're already high protein.
So this recipe also does say full cream milk powder. Now, I sent somebody to the shops who maybe didn't look properly. It might have been me. I don't know. Let's say it wasn't. And accidentally bought the skim milk one and was like, oh, no, it's not going to work. It works just as well as the full cream one. I haven't had an issue at all with this. So skim milk powder works just as well as full cream milk powder because I wasn't going to waste it now that I bought it. It's 50 grams, so I just shake it in.
So another consultant shared a tip with me once. It was Gemma from down the coast, Claire. She did double the milk powder, so she did 100
Yeah, you can.
grams and then fermented for 12 hours instead of the 10.
Yeah,
For
Yeah.
extra thick yogurt.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
great.
super thick.
Yeah.
Super thick, yeah. So I've just added that in there. So the next is just to mix them up. Mixy, mixy. Now I add a different step in here as well. This is for my husband, so I just mix that up. But I also add in, because he likes it sweet, I add in some honey. You can add sugar, but I add in, I don't know, measure with your heart, honey, tablespoon, 2 tablespoons-ish. This is beautiful honey from a friend's hive. It's delicious. And some vanilla. Again, who measures vanilla? Nobody. So you just kind of go like that. Does anybody actually measure vanilla? I'm really curious.
Yeah, there's people who measure stuff.
Really?
Yeah. You're either a precision cook or you're a pour-it-in cook.
I measure with the heart cook.
They're both fantastic, guys. So whatever you are.
Absolutely.
And
You
guess-
do you.
And we need all sorts as consultants, and wherever you live, we need you.
Yes. And then I'm just going to mix that again. So I'm just going to repeat that. And this is sweet enough then for him. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the yogurt then into the cups. So it's just milk essentially. But so then a tip with pouring them in is you can do big jars or little jars, whatever you like, but they both work just as well. And even doing a mixture of big and little in the same fermentation overnight works just as well, because I normally do that. Also, I got this from IKEA and it fits perfectly into our little jars, because these are the Thermomix jars. And look at that.
Perfect.
And by doing it with that, with this or over it, means that it doesn't disrupt the coulis in the bottom so much. And it kind of just sits on the top.
So while you pour, Jodie, I'm going to pour as well. So my thermoset is warm. It retains that with the double insulated. And so I'm just going to do, here's my coconut yogurt. So it's quite nice and thick. You can see that. So this one has agar in it. It's got a little bit of maple syrup. It's got the coconut cream, coconut milk. It's got a little bit of arrowroot just for the thickening. And then it's got the probiotic capsules. So that's pretty much all that goes in here.
I think I might have to try that one. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it even tastes nice, not fermented.
So you said you had arrowroot. Could you use tapioca at all?
Yeah, same. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Arrowroot or tapioca.
Yeah.
So that is going to stay in there, and I'm going to, so for anyone who doesn't have one of these new ones, you can get these by hosting a demo. They're pretty amazing. And there's a black seal thing that I'm going to use as well. Oh, look, Beck's got hers too.
I used mine to prove the dough in for the flatbreads.
Oh, I like that. Never thought of doing that. So
So there, all sealed up, ready for overnight.
And that fits nicely in the new TM7 Varoma.
I haven't tried it. Does it fit? Let me try it.
Yes, Michelle. Yeah.
No? Okay,
Oh.
it doesn't.
Oh, no. She said, does it go in the, does it ferment overnight? And I said, yes.
Yeah, so mine ferments for about 10 hours. overnight, and I just put it. It just goes onto the fermentation thing, and it ferments overnight. And then I'll show you how thick mine goes. So this one I made the other day, and you can see that it's actually really thick and creamy and yummy.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love how those jars are versatile, so you can use them for herbs and buy the lids, or you can use them for yogurt jars.
And just make sure that when you're doing it, you are washing your jars really well. And I actually run them through the dishwasher, or I run them through the steamer, just by steaming them in here. I don't know if anybody knows that you can do that, like baby bottle type things from when we were older. Anyway, I don't know if people still do that, but you can steam bottles to clean them.
You have the little white lids there to show them, the top of the jars. There you go. They're just like a little white silicone lid.
Yeah, just with a little Thermomix on top.
So I think they come in a 12. Is it a 12 pack they come in? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can
8.
12. Oh, maybe 8. Yeah.
8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I leave the jars on, and I leave them like that. I seal them to put them in. I know that Beck said she leaves the thing open a little bit to do the creme fraiche. I always seal these up when I put them in.
Yeah, so the lid will be on when you're fermenting. It just helps to keep it not dry out and the heat inside. And it's firm as soon as it comes out of fermentation, but it thickens a bit more as you put in the fridge.
Yeah, so it's always
that's true.
Yeah, I find it best to put it in the fridge straight afterwards.
Yeah.
You need probably about 4 hours in the fridge for them to really cool down and then have that end stage, the end stage firmness in there. Now also tip as well, and it's because Cookie Doo told me to do this, but I do this. When you're putting the fermentation on, some water in the bottom with some lemon juice. Apparently it helps to protect the steel.
It prevents rust. It prevents rusting because you've got water in there for so long.
Yeah. So just a squeeze of lemon in there. And then I'm just going to pop this on. So I just pop on my lid, pop on my thing, and then I put all of these into bed, and they will stay there all night. And you can see I've ended up with, this is my starter. So this is the one that's got no fruit in it, and it was just the end of it. It always tends to make a starter pot for me as well. So when I find the lid for my starter pot, there it is.
Along with the lid to your Thermomix.
Found it. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's there. And then the lid goes on, and we just go next. Tell it we've done everything else. It actually tells you to do all of the other bits and pieces. And then we just hit go, and it will go fermentation. Just a quick tip. I know other people have asked me where these jars came from. These ones I got from IKEA. And they're 500 ml ones. And they've got a nice rim on the top that they stack perfectly. So if you put them in the fridge, they stack nicely, or if they're in your cupboard with other bits and pieces in them, they actually stack really nice. Which in my fridge I've already got, because I tend to make yogurt for me and yogurt for my husband every week. This is my pot. And then they stack nicely on top of each other, and they look pretty. You can see my one. So one more tip
as well.
Yeah, one more tip. What happens when you are eating it, if you're eating out of a big pot, I ate from this morning. This does happen. tilt my
You
camera.
can see the way.
Yeah, so it does happen. You end up with it separating. It's not off. It's perfectly fine. It just happens when you do it. I tip it out. That's just me. Before I scoop in the next lot. You can also, if you want to, once you've made this, it's quite thick, but if you want it super, super, super thick, you can actually even, I mean, that's pretty thick. You can actually put it through a muslin cloth and strain it, and you'll almost end up with a lubna, like a yogurt tea. It's delicious.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jodie. Cool. Any other tips there, Claire?
So many tips, but that is all we have time for tonight. Oh, the tips are if you want any more, if you're interested in hosting a demo, please reach out to your consultant. It is your way of saying how much you value that person in your life and the journey on with your Thermomix. And if anyone has considered wanting to get a TM7, we have a great offer to earn one with 4 sales in a 3-month time period. So it's pretty amazing. Your first sale can reduce the cost of your Thermomix by $650. So it's pretty awesome. Reach out to your consultant if you want to find out more about that. You won't be stepping on anyone's toes. There is more than enough opportunity for every single person out there who wants to join us. You'll learn a lot about your Thermomix at the same time, and there's a billion reasons why you will love it. So just leave you guys with that one before we get our photo.
Awesome.
Do you want my yogurt? Hold on.
Well, I ate mine because everyone was talking about food and it was so delicious.
Give us a
Can you see me
countdown,
slowly
Claire.
eating mine? I was like,
Hang on, wait. Okay, ready, go. Awesome.
So cool. Well, thanks,
This looks
guys.
so good.
It
Look
was
at this,
great.
guys.
I want to eat that bit. Yum.
And you're welcome, Michelle. I was also going to say, if you ever have a Thermomix, don't ever leave it soaking in water because of the whole, like Claire said, why we do lemon juice in with the water when fermenting, because it's exposed to water. So sometimes if you leave too much water in your bowl and you soak it overnight, it will be really dull the next day inside it. So always chat to your consultant if you accidentally do that. You do a pre-clean, you go to bed and wake up the next morning, you're like, ah! So yes, always chat. We're always here to help in any way. And we have another one next month as well, which is really exciting. It's the baby and toddler inspired class. So if you want to come along to that, the link and artwork will go up, and more than happy to have you guys come along. It's great. There's some recipes that I still make for my kids, and yeah, love to see you there. Anyway, have a lovely evening and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Naomi.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.